Everyone. I'm Tony Fabrizio with Pinellas County Marketing and Communications, and we are going to discuss all things mosquitoes today. Does it seem like mosquitoes are worse this summer? How can we all work together to keep mosquitoes from breeding? What's the best clothing and repellent to wear if you're headed out to a hike or a picnic? We have a panel of experts assembled for today's Facebook Live event, and we're going to answer those questions and more for the next 40 minutes or so. With that, let me introduce our panel. From Pinellas County Mosquito Control, we have Education and Outreach Specialist, Alyssa Barrow.
Hi.
And we also have Operations Manager, Glenn Paul Edson.
Hello.
And from the Florida Department of Health at Pinellas County, we're joined by Environmental Epidemiologist, Rachel Illich.
Hello, good afternoon.
Rachel, I'll turn to you first. So mosquitoes are annoying, but are they really harmful?
Great question. Actually, mosquitoes can carry a wide variety of illnesses that can infect humans and animals. In Florida, we mostly see cases of West Nile, dengue, St. Louis encephalitis, and occasionally Eastern equine encephalitis, or triple E, as most people call it. In 2016, we did have the Zika epidemic here in Florida and in Pinellas County. And we routinely see imported cases, which means cases that were identified in other parts of the world, and they came back here and were diagnosed with malaria. Most of the diseases cause symptoms of fever, joint pain. Sometimes people develop a rash, and then severe cases can develop encephalitis, sometimes leading to a fatal outcome. Triple E has a high mortality rate compared to other diseases I previously mentioned. And the Department of Health monitors equine populations for this virus, as well as in emu populations. We also have to do what's called like a rapid response for this. So yes, mosquitoes can cause many diseases, and they can be harmful to human and animal populations.
Rachel, so let's just put this out there. Can mosquitoes transmit COVID-19?
Great question. We have been getting this question a lot, actually. Recently, there was a study developed by conducted by the Kansas State University, which concluded that SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus that causes COVID-19 infection, cannot be transmitted by mosquitoes. The study found the virus failed to infect and replicate in mosquitoes, and the World Health Organization has definitively stated that mosquitoes cannot transmit the virus, and this study proves that this cannot happen.
Well, that's good news. Alyssa, compared to 2019, Pinellas County Mosquito Control has seen service request increases of 44% in April, 226% in May, 219% in June. Are the mosquitoes that much worse this year?
So that's the interesting thing about this mosquito season. Typically in a mosquito season, when we see these drastic increases in service requests, it's usually because we see drastic increases in the mosquito populations as well. But this year we really didn't get that rainy season at the very beginning like we typically do. So we didn't see mosquito populations going up either. In fact, our mosquitoes this year have been about average, and even some months they've been lower than average. So what we're actually seeing happening is that because of COVID-19, a lot of people are staying home a lot more often. Maybe either you're working from home, maybe your kids are staying home over the summer, but either way, people are spending more time at home and in their backyard. And what they're noticing is a lot of different types of mosquitoes that they may not have noticed before, especially the container breeders that like to breed inside or containers around your yard in a very little amount of water. And even though we haven't gotten that rain, if you're out there irrigating or using some water on your potted plants like I am, you might be creating some breeding habitat.
Great. Again, today's Facebook Live event is about mosquitoes in Pinellas County. We want to make this an interactive program. So if you, as a citizen, as a resident of Pinellas County, if you have a question, type it in and we'll get it to one of our experts. You may see me glancing over at my screen on the right, and I've got a specialist, a social media specialist in the office who will send me the questions. Glenn Paul, Pinellas County practices something called integrated pest management. What is that? What does that mean?
Integrated pest management, that is a concept that we use. It is something that we provide for the whole county, not just unincorporated, but it is a service we provide for the whole county. But it is a concept that is multifaceted, where we use things like education and outreach We use source reduction, where we get rid of the larval habitat, and we use larviciding to try to get the mosquitoes at that larval level. And lastly, if needed, we will do adulticiding, where we attack and try to treat the adult mosquitoes. We are a very progressive and forward-thinking county, and we try to do everything we can at that larval level. By getting them at the larval level, you're getting them before they're a nuisance and before they become a public health vector.
Good. Pinellas County residents who are having mosquito issues at home or in their neighborhood can call 727-464-7503. That's 727-464-7503 to make a service request. Glenn Paul, what can a resident expect when one of your staff comes out?
So one of our service techs will come to the house. They will try to make contact with the homeowner. Sometimes the homeowners aren't home because it will be during the day. But if they can make contact with the homeowner, they will ask a few questions to try to get a bit more information. We do have 36 different species, which all have different breeding habitats. So any bit of information we can garner from the citizen is helpful in trying to find that source. Once again, we're really trying to find that source of the mosquito. So sometimes the tech will even ask for a specimen, and it can be very helpful if the citizen is able to collect a specimen to help that tech ID what the problem is. They will then inspect the yard, looking for any kind of containers or source of breeding. They're happy to show the citizen what they found. They will inspect usually the neighbors' yards on both sides and back if needed. If they know of any areas that could be bigger breeding spots nearby, they will check that also. Once again, this is a service that we offer to the whole county.
Great. We have a question from a resident, why we're not spraying. We're actually going to get to that and explain what we do and how we treat. But first, Alyssa, we've all been around those pesky ankle biters. If you have those around your house, what can you do?
All right, that's a great question, because all of those service requests we've been getting this year, 90% of them have to do with those pesky ankle biters, which are the container breeding mosquitoes that I had alluded to before. What I'm going to do right now is share my screen to give you a look at what they look like when they are a larva. So right now you're taking a look at the larval stage of these container breeding mosquitoes. It only takes a 1/4 inch of water, or roughly a bottle cap of water, for them to complete their life cycle. So like I said, even without that rain, if there's a little bit of water standing around in your yard, maybe because you used a sprinkler or maybe you watered your flower pots, they can utilize that and they can complete their life cycle. Now, they don't fly very far. So if you're getting these ankle biting mosquitoes, you're getting them from a source that's very close to you, so within about 3 houses. So it's really important to look around your yard for that standing water and try and dump it out if you can. So I'm going to show a video while I'm talking about common places that you might be seeing these. So let me get to that here. All right, so you're looking at them again. Now, some really common places we're going to find them is, say, in children's toys or a blow-up pool, something like that. Again, it only takes very little water. You're going to notice maybe clogged gutters can hold them, any kind of bucket, or if you happen to have tires laying around, even a tire swing, something like that. Again, it takes very little water. So if you go around your yard just once a week, it doesn't have to be every single time it rains, but once a week, if you dump your standing water, you can break their life cycle. Another option you might have is to treat areas that you can't dump the standing water out of. So we showed some bromeliads in there, which do breed in that center portion that holds that water. You can find something called BTI at the store. It's a product we even use as a larvicide. This is a soil bacteria that's been isolated, and it's very specific to mosquitoes and black flies. So it's not harmful to children, it's not harmful to pets or other wildlife. You can sprinkle that in every other week and you can take care of these mosquitoes.
Thank you. Glenn Paul, we have a question from a resident. They just moved here from Pennsylvania. They say they have an 8x10 pool in their backyard. What can they do to mitigate mosquito breeding in that pond? Glenn Paul?
Oh, so if it's a natural pond, usually it's already going to have fish in it, which is a good thing. If it is not a natural pond, or if it's, let's say, a stormwater pond that holds water 10 months, 11 months out of the year, what we can do is we would come out and inspect. We could provide Gambuja, which is a mosquito fish, to help. Otherwise, the best thing to do would be to give us a call and have us come check it out. We can work on a program with them to figure out what's the best way to handle that pond.
Alyssa, will it help if I plant citronella plants or put up a bat box at my house?
So those are some pretty common questions I get in outreach, and unfortunately, neither of those are going to be very helpful. So the thing with bats is I always encourage people to put up bat boxes. Bats are super cool creatures, but the thing is their diet is only comprised of about 1% of mosquitoes. So when they come across mosquitoes, they will eat them, but they get a lot more calories from something like moths or beetles, some larger prey items. So putting up a bat box is a great idea, but it's not going to appreciably decrease your amount of mosquitoes that you're seeing. And when it comes to plants, it's not that these plants like citronella don't include chemicals that can repel mosquitoes, but the thing is that these plants have them inside their leaves, and they're really meant as a defense for something that's going to munch on the plants, such as a caterpillar. So when they get that kind of breaking of the leaf, that's when you're actually going to get those chemicals out. So you would have to be burning down your garden or clipping up your plants every single night to be able to keep mosquitoes away. So it's not really going to work too well. The best thing that I can suggest is that you can wear long sleeves and long pants if you're going to be out, especially during the dusk or dawn type time period where a lot of mosquitoes are active. You can also use a repellent such as oil of lemon eucalyptus, DEET, picaridin. Those are all CDC recommended to try and repel mosquitoes. Those all work very well. And the last one is, if you're sitting outside and you don't want to put on repellent, a good option is something like a thermocell, which is a spatial repellent.
Great. Again, today's topic is mosquitoes, and we're joined by Alyssa Barrow and Glenn Paul Edson from Pinellas County Mosquito Control and Rachel Illich from Department of Health, Pinellas. If you have a question, type it in and we'll get it to one of our experts. We're getting quite a few questions come in about why we aren't spraying, so I want to kind of move to that part of the program. Alyssa, how do we decide where to fog for controlling mosquitoes?
So that's a really good question. As Glenn Paul had mentioned when we talked about how we tackle mosquitoes in the county, the basis of our program is to really go after those larvae. We want to get them before they become adults, but sometimes they do obviously get off in areas that we may not have found. And so when they're adults, we only use fogging as a spot treatment. So some people may think of spraying as something like an aerial spray thing where a plane's going to come over. We don't have an aerial spray program at all. We do have a helicopter that puts out larvicide. That's a granular pellet. Again, this could be like BTI that we talked about that homeowners can get. However, we don't ever spray aerially. The only way we tackle the adults is through the spot treatment using our fogging trucks. Now, the way we decide to do that is all based on surveillance. So this is only meant to temporarily knock down that adult population. So if we know that there's virus activity around, we have to knock down those adults that are infected. So we'll use the fogging trucks in that instance. Also, if mosquito populations get really high, which we see through our mosquito traps, and we know what species they are, we're going to try and knock those down, because the more mosquitoes that there are that are coming in contact with people or possibly infected birds, like a bird infected with West Nile, the more chance that it can spill over into the population of people. So we knock them down in that case as well. But this is something that's mandated legally. We have to meet certain criteria to be able to fog. So it's not something that we do on request. Fogging is not meant to be something done on a schedule. This is really just a spot treatment that's necessary to protect public health.
Good. And just to clarify, you mentioned the helicopter. So when residents see that helicopter flying low, you're not fogging, we're not spraying. What are we doing with the helicopter?
Yeah, we're absolutely not spraying from the helicopter. The helicopter only puts out a pellet version of a larvicide. So that's something that's going to control those mosquito larvae in the water. The reason why he flies really low and you'll see him bank really high and it looks scary, The reason why he's doing that is because he's trying to get those pellets right only in the area such as a swamp or a marsh or something like that, where he's not going off target at all. The higher up he is, the more things can touch. So he remains really low, but we never spray out of the helicopter.
Rachel, how many species of mosquitoes are out there, and are some worse than others, and are some more common to Pinellas County than others? Rachel, are you with us? She may be frozen. Do I have anybody? Do I have everybody else?
Yeah, I can tackle that question for you, Tony.
Okay.
So
go ahead, Glenn Paul.
We have 36 different species here in the county. Like I had mentioned before, they all have different breeding habitats. They come in different sizes and colors, and they all like to feed on different things. Some like to feed on amphibians, and some like to feed on reptiles. Some are avian biters, meaning they only bite birds, and some are all-around general biters, and those are the ones that usually bother us. And they're also the problem for public health. With viruses like West Nile and Eastern equine that require an avian host, it's those general biters that might go and bite an infected bird and then turn around and bite us that are a problem. So yes, of those 36, we have about 14 that are a big nuisance problem and worry for us for public health reasons.
Okay, great, thank you. We have a question, and Rachel, you kind of answered this already, but I'll pass it on to you anyway. Are there mosquito-borne illnesses we should be watching out for right now?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. There's definitely several mosquito-borne illnesses that we should be concerned about, as a lot of times during the summer months between June and September, we do see a lot of these illnesses locally acquired, which means that they were actually identified here. People were infected here in Pinellas County, all around the state of Florida, usually a lot of in the further south, such as the Keys, in Miami-Dade County, Broward, Brevard. They're actually starting to see a lot of locally acquired West Nile virus, and the Keys, Monroe County is starting to see many cases of locally acquired dengue virus. So there are, especially during the summer months when we're starting to see a lot of water, things like that, a lot of retention, we do see a lot more mosquitoes, which does perpetuate infection. Great.
Glenn Paul, you referenced the so-called mosquito fish a little bit ago.
Yes, sir.
What are they, and does Pinellas County give them out? Do they work?
Yeah, so mosquito fish, they are a native top-feeding minnow called Gambuja. They are perfect little mosquito techs that I've hired. I have a couple million of them that work for me. The nice thing is, as you can see by the video, they have their mouths and eyes pointed upwards. So they get their prey items from above them, which is where the larvae like to rest, breathing air through their siphon. So they like to attack from the bottom. They work great. We use them a lot, especially when the housing market crashed and we had a lot of foreclosed homes and abandoned pools. They were a perfect thing that we could put in the pool. They would breed and they would eat the mosquito larvae 24/7. So they are a product that we use, and we do provide those to citizens if they need them.
Great. And Glenn Paul, we're known for our Sentinel Chicken program here in Pinellas County. Can you help us understand how that works to help us identify whether we have a problem in a particular area of the county? Can you just give us an overview of how that program works?
Sure. So our Sentinel Chicken program, as I mentioned a little earlier, with some of the viruses like West Nile and Eastern equine, it does require an avian host. So it is a mosquito type virus, and then we are what is called a dead end host, where we would then get the virus and not be able to pass it on. The unique thing about chickens is, while they can become bitten by an infected mosquito, they will not get sick, but they will produce antibodies. Now, what we can do is we have 8 coops strategically located throughout the county. We take a small blood sample on every Monday, and by Friday we get results as to whether or not we have active virus produced by those antibodies. And so those results tell us if we have active virus transmission in the bird population. we use that then to go out and do our adulticiding, like we were saying, to knock down those older adult mosquitoes in that area. So it is a very important, it's a long running program that we've been doing. It's very good for knowing what kind of virus activity is going on. Currently, we have, knock on wood, we have not had any positive chickens so far.
Great, great. And our social media specialist, Fetty, tells me that we're getting a lot of compliments coming in on the Facebook page. The most repetitive question, the most repeated question, and we kind of addressed it here a couple of times. And I remember, you know, as a kid, the fogger trucks going down the street in my neighborhood. So people really want to know, and again, we can just emphasize this point again, Alyssa, why we're not spraying the way we used to years ago.
So one of the reasons why we don't want to spray on a schedule like we used to, I know that there used to be a time where people followed the fogging trucks and they went on a schedule up and down the county. We don't do that anymore because we are trying to use that as only a targeted response to those adult populations. Now, we do this only between 2 and 6 a.m. because we want to avoid people and pollinators. So we really are just targeting those mosquitoes that are active. Another reason why we may not be using it in times where you feel like you're getting a lot of mosquitoes is we talked about those container breeders, those ankle biters that you're getting. Those mosquitoes in particular happen to be active a lot more during the daytime and a little bit at dusk. So a fogging truck is not actually going to knock down that population. Your number one best bet is to really figure out where those larvae are and dump out that standing water and treat any kind of standing water that you can't dump out, and really encourage your neighbors to do the same, because even if you're doing everything right, if your neighbors don't know this information, they may not know that they're also breeding those same mosquitoes because they don't fly far. But the fogging truck won't actually help with that. So we don't do the fogging on a schedule anymore. We really are trying to target it to just when we need it and focus on getting rid of the larvae before they ever become a biting adult.
Okay, I have one here that may stump the panel. So I'll first throw it to Glenn Paul. The resident says he or she has a bullfrog and a bunch of goldfish in the pond. Would they play nice together with the mosquito fish?
I would say yes. Yeah, they would play nice together. That shouldn't be an issue. If there's any type of vegetation in the pond, the mosquito fish are good at hiding and getting out of the way, and goldfish should not be an issue with them, and the bullfrog as well.
Well, Alyssa, Glenn Paul, and Rachel, this has been highly informative, and hopefully it's going to help us knock back the mosquito population here in Pinellas County and make the great outdoors more enjoyable for all of us. Alyssa has done some media interviews this week to preview this event, and you may catch her on WMNF or WFLA radio. We do have a few more minutes. Alyssa, or anybody else, do you have any closing words?
Well, I definitely want to thank everybody for joining us today. This has been great. If you want any more information, you can actually find us on the web at pinellascounty.org/mosquito. And also, seeing as though I am the education and outreach specialist for mosquito control, if you would like to schedule any kind of mosquito education event for schools or other organizations, I am available for virtual programs now. And you can get in contact with me with my email address at amberro@pinellascounty.org. And I'll repeat that one more time, amberro@pinellascounty.org. Great.
Glenn Paul, any closing words?
Just everybody be safe out there. There's a lot going on, obviously. And, you know, if everybody is cognizant and checks their own yard, that would be very helpful to us. Once again, we're seeing that over 90% of our service requests are coming from containers. So if we can have people help us, that would save up and free up time to be able to get to those big areas and treat where we need to treat.
And Rachel, do you have any closing thoughts?
Yes, the only thing I would say is make sure you're draining containers, just like Glenn Paul said. And when you're using mosquito repellent, especially during the summer months, make sure you put your sunscreen on first and then your mosquito repellent over that. Thank you so much
Great.
for having me.
Great. And thanks all of you who joined us on this event for this event. These Facebook Live events give us an opportunity to connect you with our experts and our partners, and we're going to continue to offer them. So keep checking our Facebook page for the next program. I'm Tony Fabrizio. Have a great afternoon.